Hey all, it's Matt, your average gamer, and for this video we're going to be doing the final part of the Night Comet Mage build. We did parts 1 and 2 the past 2 weeks. I'm going to leave those in the description. The first thing we're going to do here is we're going to grab the Spellblade set. I didn't do a lot of the quest lines. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. As far as this set goes, though, you can either do his quest line, or if you do not end up doing Rozier's quest line, eventually at the end you could just pick up the items off of his dead body at the Roundtable hold. Big advantage to this set is it has decent resistances for a mage, but the bigger selling point is that it adds 8% damage to all magic Ashes of War. That'll include the beam part of Moonveil, and that'll give us more damage. Next thing you're going to do is equip the set, and we're going to end up moving forward with the Spellblade set. Keep in mind we didn't do Ranni's questline, but if you were to grab the Dark Moon Greatsword, the Spellblade set goes excellent with that. And in a second here, we're going to be heading towards the mountaintops of the Giants, but to show off the build so far, we have the Staff of Lost plus 14, Moonveil plus 6, Jellyfish Shield, we have the Spellblade set on, Magic Scorpion Charm, Ritual Sword Talisman, Godfrey Icon, Graven School Talisman, Magic tier, and the Defense tier. This was new player friendly, so we didn't do any warping or anything like that. We're naturally going through the game and leveling up as we go. We did farm the dragon at the beginning a little bit with that glitch, but other than that, we've been pretty much glitch free, no warping or jumping around areas, and just going step by step to each location in the game. And from the Avenue Balcony side of Grace, follow me on screen until you get to 2 big doors. There's going to be an elevator at the top, which you're going to take to another elevator eventually as we head towards the Forbidden Lands. That is ultimately our goal. And then after that, Mountaintops of the Giants. So actually, we just got to get through Forbidden Lands. But follow me on screen. We're going to do all that and start out at Mountaintops of the Giants shortly. And Mountaintops of the Giants is going to take up a lot of this video because we're going to be going to Consecrated Snowfield and even Mohg's Palace. From there, we're going to take the portal that way, and it's just going to give us a lot of levels and a lot of opportunity to level up and move forward with the game and turn it into a really powerful Night Comet build. The next step here is through the Forbidden Lands, which we're at now. I'm going to skip certain parts that are easier to understand. Anything difficult to understand I'll go over, but follow me on screen as we head towards Mountaintops of the Giants. And when you look at that, we're at Mountaintops of the Giants now, and we're going to be grabbing more smithing stones so we can continue to upgrade our staff. We'll only need 1 bell bearing after this one. That's going to be in Farum, Azula, that one, so we can fully upgrade our staff to plus 25 eventually and make Night Comet even more powerful. After you grab this, you can head back to the Roundtable hold, or you can follow my steps on screen. We'll eventually get around to that, as we're going to need more runes as we go. For step 6, follow me on screen. Once you get to the freezing lake, I'll show you exactly on screen. You can see it on the map there, how to get there. Follow me, and we're going to be continuing to open up Mountaintops of the Giants and essentially grab both maps to make our life a little bit easier and so that we know where we're going. And after you end up at Giant's Grave Post, work your way up. You're going to be going south, I believe, at that point. And you're going to head up to somebody who's using the Rivers of Blood. This is an NPC invader. And after we defeat him, we're going to grab that Site of Grace, the Sacred Tear, and then we're going to be getting an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. And I'm just going to say something really quickly. As far as the Golden Seed, Sacred Tears, I've been kind of flying through this because the whole point of this is to build a powerful Night Comet build and not do like all the quest lines and everything in the game, because that would take hours on each part. Now, to shorten this up a little bit, we're mainly creating a build and going through the game. Make sure you do quest lines you want to do. I'll leave some of interest in the description, including the Shard of Alexander and Magic Scorpion Charm quest lines. And after we open up the Site of Grace right before the Fire Giant, we're going to end up coming back to this point, but I wanted to open up Mountaintops of the Giants in its entirety so we can come right back and face the Fire Giant. But next up, we're going to be headed soon to Consecrated Snowfield to get some more runes. And to do that, we have to head to Castle Sol. So at this point, follow me on screen. We're going to be going to that castle, doing that entire dungeon. I'm not going to show the whole dungeon once we get there because it's fairly straightforward, but I will show the boss fight and my strategy for taking him on. You can cheese the dogs at the front of the castle, so just follow me on screen here and you can easily take them out without being hit. And we're going to be taking on Commander Niall. This shouldn't be too difficult. We're going to grab the first piece, technically the second, but we're going to go back and get the first one as well. As far as Commander Niall, take out the knight on the right always first. He's the more dangerous one. Then the one on the left. And then I'm going to show you a strategy to beat him. Yeah, the one on the right has dual Banished Knight Greatswords or Knight Greatswords, and he's really fast. He can basically go right up to you and absolutely destroy you very quickly. So you want to get rid of him first, then the one with the shield that's a little bit slower, and then after that, you're going to get Commander Niall to get stuck into basically two animations that both have good dodge windows. And after he's taken down, follow me on screen, we're going to be grabbing this piece. Now, after you get either piece, it could be the first one, the original one in the lakes that we're going to go back and grab, or this one, you're going to get invaded at the Roundtable hold. However, this NPC is relatively easy. And after you defeat that NPC, you can then follow me on screen. We're going to be upgrading our staff a little bit more.
I took you no matter, it's all the same. Lay out your own.
And we're going to level up with the rest of the runes we have. And for step 15, we're going to be grabbing the second piece, which is actually technically the first piece, but there's really no reason to grab that one right away since it's so easy to come back to anyway. So we're going to go here, we're going to grab that other piece. Once we have both halves, we can have access to Consecrated Snowfield, which will help us get more runes.
Dear me. I haven't a clue. No secrets lie with me, not a one. Oh, please leave me be. Wait then. Well. Oh, aye, we're finished. The curse among, I beg you. You must keep. And if you then please. The medallion, it's only a quid for dear. Alas.
And we're going to head back to the Grand Lift of Rold. You can see it right on the map there. Follow me. We're going to go to Consecrated Snowfield and eventually even cheese a boss and fight another tree avatar. We're probably going to grab around 400,000 runes and start leveling up more. Before we continue through Consecrated Snowfield, we're going to go back to the Academy. Now, at some point, you probably have taken on Ranella. I didn't need a beater because we ended up using Godric and Radon for our 2 great runes. But we're going to go to the Academy. You're going to end up grabbing this golden seed because it's easy to get. And then we're going to grab summons that we need to do this little puzzle that's going to get us the Graven Mass Talisman.
Well, it's been how can I? Have a safe.
Now, since visibility is low anyway, I'm going to show you right here. This is the path you're going to follow. You're going to follow this specific path right down until you can see the map icon. You're going to end up near a Site of Grace. This is the one on screen right now. And we're going to grab the Consecrated Snowfield map at this point. Now I'm going to show you the Graven Mass Talisman, the location on the map. We do have to unlock the door and do a little bit of a puzzle. We just have to get 2 enemies to fight, and then we can defeat them, and the door will unlock. For the record, your summons only have to hit them once. They don't even have to be upgraded or do a lot of damage, and then you can just finish off the regular enemy that's here, and the door will unlock automatically. I'll show you the map at the end here after we defeat this magma worm. He's all the way to the right down the river in Consecrated Snowfield with the golden scarab, and you can use a gold pickled foul foot. You can end up getting between 200,000 and 300,000 runes. Use the land octopi in the area to your benefit. They can even posture break him. Continue to hit him with Night Comet. And we have more levels. Follow me on screen and upgrade accordingly. Then again, I'll show this on the map too. I was being chased by enemies and I couldn't bring up the map. I'll show this at the end, but we're going to take the tree avatar on in the area as well because it's worth around 150,000 plus runes, and that's going to be helpful for us. Also, the tree avatars have simple move sets and typically aren't too difficult. And we're going to check out our levels again, upgrade accordingly after we get the runes from the tree avatar. Next up, we're going to head towards Mohgwyn's palace. There's a portal in Consecrated Snowfield. You can get here earlier during a quest line early in the game, relatively early in the game, around the time of the lakes. But for this, we're just going to take the portal there, and a little bit later in the video, we're going to take on Mohg, who's worth a lot of runes. This area at this grace is one of the biggest farming and most popular farming spots in Eldenring, and one of the best. And next up here, you're going to go across the lake. I'm not going to do the whole hand-holding thing through every dungeon because at this point you know the maps and stuff well and you can find your way around. I recommend exploring a lot as far as that goes. But we're going to grab the map here and we're going to move our way up through the cave and head towards Mohg's boss arena, although we're not going to take him on yet. Once we get to the top, though, we will grab the Ancient Somber Smithing Stone because that'll help us with Moonveil. There's another one at Consecrated Snowfield not far from the main Grace, too, where you get invaded from Anastasia for the last time. She'll drop one as well. So at this point, you should have two, although I kind of forgot about the other one. We're going to grab that one at Mohgwyn's Palace and go back there later. It's time to take on the Fire Giant. Back to the foot of the Forge, Site of Grace, and Mountaintops of the Giants. This ended up taking me 3 tries. He can be difficult for a lot of builds, but Night Comet does a lot of damage to the Fire Giant. I do get beat up a little bit, but you can follow me on screen, do the same general thing I do, and you'll beat him within a couple tries, no question. Well, maybe a little bit more than a couple for some of us. The Fire Giant actually did take me around 2 hours the first time through the game. He is challenging in all seriousness. He's very difficult, very intimidating, but if you follow what I do on screen, you should be able to get him to Phase 2 rather quickly. And then for me, Phase 2 is a little bit harder for me. I find him to be a little bit annoying with the whole rolling around and fire thing, but again, follow me, same basic strategy, take him down in no time. Yeah, I didn't have the best luck with the RNG at the end, but if you did go out and grab more golden seeds, sacred tears, like I mentioned, I didn't really need them personally, but you should be upgrading those along the way. You get the sacred tears from the churches in the game, and the golden seeds are kind of random. Anyways, should have enough HP to get through that fight, though it is a little bit challenging, and he has a lot of HP, so it can take a little bit to take the fire giant down.
this world and death. Are you to commit? Very well. Let my hand.
Now that we've headed to Farum, Azula, if you followed everything on screen post the fire giant, I'm going to show some of it where it gets a little bit confusing. This portion specifically because we're going to be using a summon for the Godskin Duo. I recommend upgrading your own summons along the way. I didn't really use much of them, but there is an NPC in summon for this fight. I'm going to show you how to get to him, and he's very helpful and pretty tanky too. Yeah, the Godskin Duo ends up actually not being too bad with using this summon in the fight, and we do a substantial amount of damage. Keep in mind our build isn't fully there yet. It gets a lot better towards the end game. It definitely impressed me for Beast Clergymen, Malachite, and some of the end game bosses. Anyways, follow me on screen here. We're going to grab this Site of Grace, turn around, do a few jumps, and then go to another Site of Grace. You can grab Somber 9s early in Caelid, but since Moonveil's really only my backup weapon, I decided to grab that 9 there, and at this point we can fully upgrade Moonveil and use it as a sidearm. Now to take on the Godskin Duo using the summon here, we're just going to hang back. If you need any additional help other than the strategy I use, sleeping pots work really well on them. And we now have the final smithing stones we need to fully upgrade the Staff of Loss, get the most damage out of it, and we're going to upgrade again with the additional levels we have. And next up here, we're going to use the final staff upgrade. So use whatever runes you have. You don't have to use remembrances if you need a farm or anything like that. You're going to have to buy the smithing stones and then fully upgrade the Staff of Loss. We should be able to get it all the way to plus 25 at this point. Now, as far as Mohg goes, he can be really challenging. Very, very difficult boss, but with the Golden Scarab, you get around 600,000 runes, even more with a Gold Pickled Foulfoot. Yeah, bleed builds absolutely destroy Mohg. Night Comet is great for him as well. You can see on screen it's pretty fantastic, doing 2,000 damage a pop. But that being said, he's still going to end up getting to phase 2, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge because it makes the arena into a hostile environment. One note, if this is basically very hard for you or almost impossible for you, if you have a really hard time with the second phase of the fight, and you may very well have a hard time with the second phase of the fight. He took me around 6 or 7 tries, and that was actually the most of any boss on this run, I think, at this point. Anyways, as far as Mohg goes, you can grab Comet Azur if you want to look that up, and then the Infinite FP tier, and you can absolutely destroy him, basically cheese the entire boss fight using that strategy.
I can see it as clear as day. The coming of our dynasty. Mohgwyn.
The amount of levels we get from Mohg is awesome. You can throw in the Gold Pickle Foulfoot, probably get around 600,000 to 700,000, and level up accordingly. After the Godskin Duo, the first Site of Grace, the next one after that's really easy to get to, but I'm going to show this particular run. This is the only run in the game that I completely cannot stand with the Eagles, and you can defeat them along the way. You can even clear them out, or you can just run through and follow me on screen. Either way, this could be a little bit difficult getting to the next Site of Grace from this point. There's a tough Draconic Tree Sentinel up there, but you should be able to take him down no problem. He took one try for me, and this next fight ended up only taking one try too, which was awesome. Follow me on screen for the exact strategy, and this won't be too difficult for you at all. When he gets to phase 2, he won't have much HP, but my recommendation is to stay kinda close to him, not too close, not too far away, sort of like at a mid-range, and if need be, you can run under him, and if he does any of his longer range attacks, you can roll right through them, and then he has a long animation afterwards where you can get some hits in. And once again, level up accordingly on screen. Next step, you'll automatically be taken to Ashen Capital. Follow me. We're going to be heading towards Gideon to take on one of the easiest bosses in Elden Ring. And here we have it, the ultimate battle in the entire game. Well, no, not really. Anyways, Gideon is notoriously easy. He's not really very difficult at all. You can hit him during the monologue. You do not have to listen to him whatsoever. And with Night Comet, you have so much range that you don't even have to go near him. And it does a lot of damage, and he has low HP. Once again, level up with me on screen here. Next up is Godfrey. Godfrey and Radagon and Elden Beast, I think they both took 2 tries. The build ended up impressing me on Godfrey and Radagon. It really is a solid build. Night Comet's always easy mode. Eventually you can add in Faith buffs and another Staff of Loss for massive damage. For Phase 2, keep a further distance than we did before. At this point, you're going to have to worry about his grappling because it does so much physical damage. It may even be able to one-hit you at 40 Vigor or so, around 40 Vigor. So, as far as Godfrey, stay back, roll through the grapples, and keep your distance. The farther away you can stay, dish out damage, and be patient with the second part of this fight. So we're going to level up for the second to last time, and then I'm going to show on screen how far we are into the game at this point. I believe it's around 7.5 hours. It's under 8 hours. I think we end up beating the entire thing in, which is pretty awesome for the first run through without any warping. And we're going to use our entire build. We're going to use Night Comet on Radagon because it works really well for Radagon and can dispatch him very quickly. And then as far as Elden Beast goes, we're actually going to use Moonveil at that point because we can build up some posture damage and make the fight a little bit easier. Cast Terra Magica immediately upon entering and do as much damage as you can to Radagon. Then try to avoid a couple of these small attacks he has before he does his automatic jump. And then after the automatic jump, hang back, get in a few more hits, and you may be able to get to the last part where he slams the hammer down 3 times. And then shortly after that, he's going to be gone. You can rebuff if you're quick enough with the Golden Vow Ash of War to give us a little more defense and damage heading into Elden Beast. If you get in a posture break, that's going to be huge for added damage. You can even take a few extra hits because he has a long posture breaking animation, and then take the critical hit. And shortly here, I'm going to explain Elden Stars. Eventually, around half HP, he's going to do one of the most frustrating moves in the game, and that's Elden Stars. If you follow me on screen, we're just going to run from it as much as we can and dodge his ranged attacks, but overall, Elden Stars can be a little bit difficult. Don't focus on fighting him, just focus on keeping your distance, dodging, and running away from it. Eventually, towards the end of the fight, after he's done spamming pretty much every attack that he has at you, you can get closer, and usually he'll start doing his more physical damage attacks again, which are kind of a little bit of a relieving point as far as the fight goes. And at this point, you can take him down, finish off Elden Beast, and ended up taking down the final boss in Elden Ring pretty easily, too. It wasn't too bad with Moonveil, and Night Comet destroyed Radagon, so that went fairly well.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall an age of fracture.
You then have the option for New Game Plus. I recommend waiting, doing a couple other things, exploring everything, even taking on Malenia, etc., stuff we didn't do in this video before jumping into New Game Plus. In the final build is the Staff of Loss plus 25, we have Moonveil plus 10, we have the Dagger with Golden Vow on it, we have Jellyfish Shield, we have the Spellblade Set. Then we have the Magic Scorpion Charm, the Ritual Swords Talisman, the Godfrey Icon, we have the Graven Mask Talisman, which we grabbed in this video, we have the Opaline Hard Tiered for some extra defense, and the Magic Tier. And then we're going to level up the final time on screen, which we end up with around 65 intelligence or so. I think we end up going to 67 in the end. I ended up deciding on that. Originally, my plan was to get to 125 because that's normally when I beat the game. So 20 dex, 65 intelligence. But we ended up at 123. If you use Gold Pickle Foul Foot, though, you'd probably be between 125 and 130. And even with recording everything and stopping here and there, we beat the game under 8 hours on base new game, building up from the ground for Night Comet, and it ended up being a really fun build. Mohg took the most tries at 8. Most of the bosses went down between 1 and 3 tries. Definitely be sure to sub if this video helped you. Also, be sure to comment if another 3-part series is something you'd like to see, taking a build from basically the beginning of the game all the way to the end game. In this case, we used Night Comet and Moonveil as a backup weapon. Be sure to check out the next video on this channel because that one's going to help you make builds when you're at the end game, and it's going to show off some of the best builds in the game as well. Thanks for watching, and be sure to sub.